Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifted. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It is June 2nd, 2025, and we are back to cover the Sean Diddy Combs trial. I hope you guys had a good weekend. We did have a live yesterday that turned into something totally different because we ended up talking about, and this is for those that missed yesterday, go check the video out. It's very interesting. We talked about Desiree Perez, who is the CEO of Roc Nation. I know you guys have probably seen videos where they're talking about her in the lawsuit filed by her daughter, Demore. However, we pulled up Desiree's response. We have not pulled up all the other responses yet, but we pulled up specifically to hers because she had the most like eye-opening, flabbergasting allegations against her by her daughter. So we were all mad. We was like, man, this is crazy. We got wiretaps and cameras, and what is going on here? So then I was like, okay, we got to be fair though, instead of going off of the emotional part of it, and we're going to have to pull up what her as the defendant had to say, because I knew she filed a motion to dismiss, and I think that might be I know that is what's missing in a lot of commentary in that motion to dismiss filed by Desiree. She basically painted a picture that looks plausible and believable. Again, everyone is going to say everything is AI, it sounds like, or fake evidence and fake this and fake that. It sounds a bit plausible, okay? That she had a video showing abuse. She also had some audio showing abuse of her daughter, which is supposed to be why I guess she's intervening the way she is. Now, how they're going to get through the admitting her at under the Baker's Act and all of that, we have yet to see. And it may just end up being a credibility contest on both ends on who do you believe and who you don't believe. But nonetheless, it was very, very interesting. For those that were in the chat making these ridiculous comments of, oh, you paid by Roc Nation. I was like, what? I just pulled the doggone motion up while I was there. Why every time somebody says something against somebody, you getting paid by Roc Nation? See, those type of comments make me look at some of these people side-eye when they accuse people of stuff when it pertains to Roc Nation or some of the rumors. Why? Because if you can say that about me, and I don't know none of these people at all, never met them a day in my life, and I just gave commentary based on the information, then why wouldn't I believe that they out here lying on Roc Nation too? You know? Now I got to look at you all sideways to say something like that. Same thing with Diddy, because I just didn't send them straight to the prison cell because God forbid I hold the government to their burden. You're on Diddy's payroll. Like, how many payrolls am I on, guys? Like, how many? Why can't I just literally be an unbiased person that weighs it on both sides, who really right now in the Diddy case has an opinion, but not really? You know what I'm saying? Like, all the evidence isn't really out there. And really, my opinion doesn't matter when it comes to that case because I'm not on the jury. I can't send him to a prison. I can't send him anywhere. I can't send him home. I can't do anything. All I can do is give information. So some of these people just need to relax because I mean, it's springtime, spring is accompanied by cleanup. And some of you guys that really probably like the conversation and the thought-provoking conversation that goes on in the chat won't be around, because some of this stuff is just ridiculous. I don't care if you don't like my opinion, but when you come for my integrity, that's where I draw the line. All right. I say that about anybody, even in my profession. You can say, Pam, your brief is sloppy. I think you just suck at arguing. But when you say I did something unintegral, I'll check anybody, from a judge to whoever. That's just how I roll. So please don't do that. All right. Please just, if you don't like my opinion, that's cool. Just voice your own opinion and say, hey, Pam, have you thought about it from this perspective? Don't be rude and disrespectful. It ain't even that deep. All right. That's my soapbox. I hope you guys are doing well today. Tracy said maybe you are a mother that will do anything to protect their child. It could be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, apparently they think that, I don't know. I get it. I'm not saying that if she did all of this stuff and did, and I'm talking about Desiree, if she did all of this stuff and in the process broke the law, I'm not a proponent of breaking the law. But there are certain situations where I understand, or there's an explanation as to it. Like, for instance, the lady that went on trial because she found out that her husband was messing with kids in her daycare. All right. There are just certain things, and it don't make it right under the law, because they don't want to have a vigilante type of a system where people take it into their own hands. But some things are just understandable. Like the person that's in CVS or something, and they ain't got no money for the milk for the baby, and they just might grab one. Yeah, you might catch a case. But if your baby's hungry, you just might do it. So I'm saying I understand it. I'm not promoting it. I'm not promoting anybody to break anybody's law. I'm just saying that I understand where it's coming from. Now, whether she ends up having to face consequences for as far as she went to protect her daughter, we gonna see if that's the case. Her daughter is alleging she don't need protecting. All right. She's saying she don't need no protection because her man is not abusive. She don't care what nobody say. And she already went online and said that Rock Nation and everybody is conjuring up evidence, and they're making it up. The evidence I saw looked really real to me. And if there are any text messages or whatnot, those can be easily pulled by the company when you subpoena them, and you can get the original. So that stuff is going to come out regardless, because that's what Brian Steele is doing on the stand right now to Mia, pulling up old text messages and all of that. Listen. All right. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great morning. I had court early this morning at 9 o'clock, and I just got done. So this is why I'm on here with you guys. Good morning, Sharice. Good morning, Call Me Darling. Make sure y'all hit that like button. It's just a reminder. Don't have us fighting in the listen, I'm not even trying to do that. Just let us all have opinions. If I see your opinion, I don't see all comments, but I don't have a problem posting if you don't agree with me. We are not a dictatorship, you know? Like, so you might convince me. There's times where I'm like, okay, that's the way to think about it. I never looked at it that way. But that's because you're respectable with letting me know. Real debate or conversation, you don't have to be disrespectful. When you get to the point where you like calling somebody out their name or saying you're stupid to believe that, you're victim shaming, which is always the word that comes out of everybody. That's the go-to. Everybody got a scenario on why I'm victim shaming. I hear it so much. I'm like, what are you even saying? All I'm saying, so you feel like because they were a victim in Diddy's case, because he was a cruel person as far as a boss or a man, that he deserves to go to prison for the rest of his life for a RICO, even though they may or may not be able to satisfy each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt. But I should think, because there's a victim, then what I should do is just believe everything the alleged victim had to say. Don't question anything that they have to say. What is interesting about Mia is when Brian Steele, I guess, was going, it seemed like he might be going a little bit too, I don't know. I would have to be there to see his tone. But he do seem like he going hard in the paint. But that's what Brian Steele's job is, or any defense attorney. That's what they hire for. So that's like, relax. And then you had all of YouTube basically saying they were mad at Brian Steele because he was catching her in lies or catching her up on certain things. People were like really mad. Like, what are you mad for? Okay. That's up to the jury whether they feel like, oh, it was just a fluke. Because what she's saying, her explanation for everything is it's psychological. Talk to my therapist. It's psychological. I wanted to still be his friend, and I was texting him, I love him, and all of that because it's psychological. Everything is psychological. So at some point, I think we all have to come to the conclusion that you need to go get the help you need or something, because we can't just get past. Criminals can't get past his own. What if Diddy say my defense is psychological? Y'all gonna sit up there and give him a pass? He's been diagnosed apparently. He had drug addiction. So why we not gonna say it's psychological? Exactly, we're not. So we can't pick and choose the psychological defense for one end with no accountability, and then for the defendant, because they're the ones that inflicted whatever pain, they're saying we can't take into account any psychological attributes of that person. That is not fair. So that's why I try to pull people away from it, and we're just going to take it for the facts and what they are. Are there going to be experts that come on the stand to try to explain? We already had one of them. That's a domestic violence expert. And I'm sure there's going to be a few more that's going to end up coming up. So anyway, DJ said the Lord saw fit for me not to be on the live yesterday because I wouldn't been fighting for my spot in heaven cussing these fools. Yeah. AK said that's why I couldn't be a defense attorney. I couldn't defend a person accused of a serious crime unless I knew for a fact they were innocent. And there are some people that think just like you. Okay. There are some people, when I was in law school, I knew who was going to be prosecutors because they just could not fathom. First of all, a lot of people think the police, everything, when they arrest you, they gotta have evidence, which is not always true. Sometimes the police have manufactured evidence. Sometimes the police plant evidence. Sometimes the police do certain things to catch you up in the game. So that's not always true. Now, the way to avoid that, AK, which is what I did, is I've never been on the court appointed list. Okay. What that means is I'm not, any case that I take is because any case that I've taken is because I believe in them, or I believe in second chances. Maybe they did do something, but I believe that they shouldn't be like thrown in prison and throw away the key, because there's a rehabilitation aspect of it. It's something I believe in. When you get on the court appointed list, you have to take what they give you. It does not matter unless, and in some courtrooms, you keep turning down cases because you got a moral compass or something where you're like, no, I can't do it, then you won't be on their list. And that's the livelihood of a lot of defense attorneys. Even the ones that do a retained, they'll do court appointed as well. A lot of people do that. I've always just done retained when I did criminal. I've never been on the list. Now, I will probably do appeals on the list. I will probably do that now later on in my career. I would do it because I do post conviction work. So appellate is almost natural, even though I do like post conviction. Most of the time you go back to the trial court and you have new evidence that exonerates your client, or questions how the investigation went, or even what the attorney did or did not do and were ineffective in the lower court. So I typically try to do that area. And then of course the civil rights in civil court and federal court, that's what I do as well. Mainly I just really started trying to go from in the prison out when I started seeing how high the percentage was of people wrongfully convicted, and hearing the stories and stuff, and it just pulled on my heart. And I was like, okay, this might be one of the things I'm put on this earth to do. And all I want to do is my assignments. That's it. But that's a way that you can avoid it. You just don't you just don't do court appointed work. And then you can pick and choose what you want to do. That's all. Good morning, James. Hey, cousin, good to see ya. KD said him being an addict or abuser doesn't equal a RICO or trafficking charge. Moral issues are not necessarily criminal. That is true. Hold on, let me see. I promise you, every time I go live, here come Dennis. Is this the orchestration? Dennis, every time I go live, here you come. Do you have my notifications on or something? Yes. Okay, what's the update? Okay, what's the update? Hold on, I'm on live, so can I put you on speaker? Okay. All right, go ahead, Dennis. This is reporter Dennis Byron from Hip Hop Inquirer. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just walking out the courtroom. There was a break, so I was able to come down to give an update on the testimony of Mia. During cross-examination, Mr. Still showed a series of text messages. In one message, Mia sent to Mr. Combs' Puffy that she had a dream and that she was in the elevator with R. Kelly and that Puffy came to rescue her.
What?
This is after the claims that she's made that he sexually assaulted her. So she has this dream. She sent to Puff in 2019 that she had a dream that she was in the elevator with R. Kelly and Mr. Combs, Puffy, came and rescued her. So Brian still asks her, so your savior or the person that you wanted to rescue is the same person that you have accused of sexually assaulting you. Bombshell. That's a bombshell.
What?
Yes. When I tell you, I could not believe that I was reading this screen, and this is not only one major problem, but there is another message that same year she testifies that she reached out. She had reached out and spent some type of nicety. Another statement that she made. And then Mr. Still said, why did you send this message? Weren't you traumatized and weren't you feeling threatened and so forth? She said, no, why did you send it? She said, well, I felt I was brainwashed. Then she goes talking about doctors and psychology. He said, I didn't ask you about that. I asked you why. Tell me in your words, not a clinical reason. Tell me in your words, why do you feel like you was being brainwashed? So this is ridiculous.
It sounds like, and this is what I was just talking to them about. When you start blaming stuff on just all psychological reasons, now this is gonna be the default to everybody. Like, oh, I had Stockholm. So she is proving what the dangers is. Yeah, they're trigger words.
Trigger words. But this whole R. Kelly thing, it's the bizarrest thing I heard. So why are you sending him a message about R. Kelly in 2019? Because you remember, R. Kelly's case was in 2019. But she claimed that he had sexually assaulted her years earlier. Why would you send him a message like that?
What? So you saying the person you saying abused you on more than one occasion, even on his birthday, you contact him to save you from another alleged predator.
Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. This is just unbelievable. Incredible testimony coming out of the courtroom this morning in the case of United States versus Sean Diddy Combs. And this witness, there's major problems. And it was some arguments this morning about putting in certain video evidence. The prosecution wanted the CNN release video to have a edited version where they're putting the video slow mode so they can highlight certain elements of the video. The judge denied it.
Oh, wow.
The judge denied it. So again, she's still on the stand. I just came out just to give you an update.
I appreciate it.
I hadn't even did my live yet. I had the premonition that you were going to be doing a live around this time, and I just came in, popped up, and let your people know that we rock.
Thank you so much, Dennis. I appreciate you. Go handle your money. You know what I'm saying? All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All righty. So let's get into it then. Based on that, somebody said they don't believe it. I think she did mention R. Kelly because I almost kind of recall looking at that a little bit. So let's get into it. So this was as soon as it comes in, of course, before the jury is in. That's when you handle any issues that you may have. So the judge said, ask Mr. Steele, how much longer do you have on cross? Excuse me, y'all. No, what the heck? Steele said, at least until lunch, maybe after. So then the judge said, we're not going to have 15 more Instagram posts. And Mr. Steele said, well, I can't promise that. Okay. I'm about to post what I need in order to do what I got to do with this client. Okay. With this witness. And so then the judge said, defense, on the elevator hallway video, you are objecting to showing the versions we discussed? The defense said, yes, it shows Mr. Combs running 30% faster than really happened. It's prejudicial. We let the AUSA Smizer know how we will cross the expert. So they're going to have an expert on the video too as well. So then they have, let's have Miss Garcia. You know, that's the person I think that, Mr. Garcia is coming in that's supposed to invoke the Fifth Amendment. So did you receive a subpoena to testify at this trial? So Mr. Garcia comes in. We've seen this on the assistant's testimony where the judge is going to ask some questions on his intention to plead the Fifth. And based off of that, they can give him an immunity deal. Did you receive a subpoena to testify at this trial? He's like, yes. Do you intend to invoke your Fifth Amendment right? Yes. Have you seen the proposed immunity order? Yes. Your Honor, on that basis, we propose you sign an immunity order. So it was done. So then the judge like, all right, bring in the witness. So then after they tell the jury, all rise, Mr. Steele starts out with show DX717. He started out putting up an exhibit after judge. How many Instagram posts? Oh, I can't say that I'm not going to do that. It's going to be some Instagram posts and some text. Okay. So then the government says, Your Honor, we renew our objection. The judge said, Mr. Steele, are we going to show this video? You haven't laid any type of foundation. Take the video down. So Combs, Steele said, did you work as an assistant to someone? So Mia said, maybe 2008 or 2007. I'm not sure. Steele said, you had a resume saying you had the ability to multitask and had thick skin. She said, I'm not sure I wrote that. That you were able to deal with uncomfortable situations 24/7. So he must have pulled up her resume and he's just seeing like all the things that she's saying she was able to do, which is why she would have got hired. So you got thick skin because apparently he a tyrant. So you letting them know that you got you got thick skin, you can multitask. So they're going over the resume. That you were able to deal with uncomfortable situations 24/7. The government objected, reading for documents not in evidence, and the judge overruled it. Steele comes back, did you use this as your CV? And then she said, looks like it. And then Steele said, let's put up 1753R for admission. The judge admitted it. You went to James Madison University. It's a well-known institution. She said, sure. Then you were a design assistant. Yes. In 2008 to 2009, you say you provided round-the-clock support, all personal and professional needs, keeping passports. They were all collected. So basically, she's saying she provide round the clock. So you're making it seem like you already know, what the job entails. Because some people be tweaking their resumes and stuff so it could fit the picture. So she says, I don't exactly remember. I didn't travel. So apparently remember she testified that he took her passport at some point, and it alluded to maybe she couldn't leave because he took her passport. So Steele is trying to get into the passport situation, I assume. So then she says, I don't exactly remember. I didn't travel. So then Steele said, but you traveled with Mr. Combs' company. So she said, oh, yes. So Steele says, so when you said they had your passport, they had everyone's passport, true? She said, yes. And you're a strong person. She says, I'm good at teaching people, not necessarily at enforcing things. You're a leader. I don't know about that. Steele said, you speak up for yourself. She said, no, I don't. Steele said, but you empower other people, true? So, like in your resume, how you saying you a leader or you empower people, and then you basically, I guess, saying that you don't do none of that. So she says, yes, I empower people. Let's look at your text in 1730. She says, it sounds like I sound like me. Show the jury 1733. You left Mr. Combs' employ by March 2017. She said, yes. And what did you wrote to Mr. Combs for Christmas 2018? Please read it. She says, Merry Christmas. I love you. And the New Year's. I had just seen him at Kim's funeral. You reached out to him? She said, absolutely. And then he still pulls up a 2019 message. And I guess she said, Mia said, I wrote, I had a nightmare. I was being chased by R. Kelly and you saved me. So that is what Dennis just talked about on the live. And Steele said, the person you say RAPE'd you, saved you. So then there was an objection. The judge said, you need to rephrase. And then Steele said, here, what did you write? And she said, sending you all the love in the world. So then Steele said, you are not in his grips anymore. So then she responds, it's psychological. So then Steele said, why do you keep referring to psychology? Why did you do this? Kim Porter's tragic death was 5 months before. Shy, were you reaching out to Mr. Combs? I guess why? Why were you reaching out to Mr. Combs? She said 5 months is not a lot. So then Steele said, what didn't you understand that Mr. Combs was brutal to you? How did you write this? Objection, argumentative. Yeah, it probably was a little argumentative. To be like, what did you understand that Mr. Combs, like, if you're saying he brutal, why did you even write this? So they had a sidebar. They come back. Steele said, now, May 14th, so basically probably the judge sustained the objection because it was a bit, Now, May 14th, 2020, and you texted to Mr. Combs what? So she says, my heart is broken about Dre. It's in my spirituality. I know that when people are done with the physical world, it's that they have completed their mission. I love you. So that was probably Andre Harrell. So then Combs still said, what's this about? She says he auditioned for the James Brown part and Chad Boseman got it. I told Puff I'd email him videos of his audition. Puff, okay, this is so off track from the criminal trial. Why is Puff auditioning for James Brown? He cannot just Harlem Shake auditioning for James Brown. What are you doing, sir? And Chad Boseman did his thing in James Brown too, I might add. Hey, Ray, good to see you. Thank you for sliding on in. Fin9J said, why would a company keep employees' passport? Ask them because I never heard of it in USA. The only place I've heard employers keeping passports is Dubai so an employee can leave. You said corpse slavery it's called. That may be it, but on the flip side, it may just be you don't want nobody getting stuck over there because they're not they're not, I don't want to say responsible, but I guess that would be the word, or they may be forgetful. So they want to make sure that the people that come leave. I'm just saying that could be an explanation. I don't really know. I have never worked for a company of which I had to go to other countries and they took my passport. So I'm speculating as an option and you're speculating right now. I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. Well, he did act in the play of Raising the Sun, so maybe he wanted to keep acting. Yeah, he did some years before. They should have a jury of real peers, meaning people who work in the entertainment industry. Esther de Jesus, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. I, what I'm starting to feel like, though, because dealing on the internet and all of that now, as much as I do, I am starting to feel like you should almost be trained to be a juror. Like, you should be, once you turn 18, everyone got to go for a class at the, between the first 5 years of adulthood or something, and go to a class so you can actually understand what you are doing. Because there are a lot of people that deal in emotions. And if you are going to err on the side of one or the other, and someone is like a Diddy and you're confused, you might just say, let me just send them to prison just because. Because I can have my conscience will be fine because I know he did something. It ain't like he just going there and he didn't do nothing, like he totally innocent. They may think that. So those type of fears, I think, come in. Plus, you had jurors who were like, we feel like rich people with money, they can buy their way out of trouble. So I almost feel like at this point it should be some sort of training to make sure they know how to actually just stick to the law and not emotions. But that's a lot to ask. I understand. Entertainment industry is different. People have motives. Exactly. These are people's lives. Yes. Entertainment industry is different. And that's why I tell people that's in here, like, you don't get it. I'm like, do you not understand I've done entertainment law and I still represent a couple of celebrities now? I just don't really, I think it's still on my website, but I just don't take them anymore because it's I'm not gonna say it's time consuming because it's not. I just don't really like to deal with it. Like, I had to pick an area that I could just focus on. Just because I know how to do everything doesn't mean that I have to do everything or do a lot of things. I'm not gonna say everything, but because I know various areas don't mean I'm gonna do it. So I turn down a lot of people every day that want me to veer outside of my wrongful convictions or my civil rights, to try to help them with stuff. I don't even do it anymore. And I thank God I'm in that position because at first, if you start not on your own, you got to take what's given. You like, okay, you like whatever door open, that's what I do. Okay, because you trying to keep the lights on. But when you can get in and you can get to a point where you don't have to do any and everything, then that's better because you can actually focus on that area that you're doing and keep up with the laws and be the best that you can be. But yeah. Ray said, Esther, I thought about that a while ago, but I felt like peers from a certain aspect of life may give them a bias, us versus them, instead of for good of the general population. Yeah, I do think that people make their decisions based out of their experiences. So that's why in jury selection, you ask things like, have you ever been a victim of domestic violence? Because you may have the position of anybody who hit a woman, they need to go down for everything. Or if it's something that has to do with a police officer, how many have police officers in their family? Um, d- if you're doing that type of 1983 civil rights work. So, yes, because we know that people pull from, and everyone has biases. So I'm not trying to make it seem like, and I've told you some of my bias, like how I want Nicole Westmoreland. I said, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all it's a bias, all right? Because as a black woman, I know we get overlooked. And I'm not saying that's her position, because Sean Combs can say who he wants to do, who he wants to do what if he wants to. So I'm not saying like that's what it is, but because of my experiences being a female black attorney and how I've been treated, I do automatically think when you're not given the time and you're the best at it and they're overlooking you, that it's because you're a black woman. That's one of my biases. I have a bias that I don't like cats. Okay. I barely like dogs, but at least I can tolerate them. And there's a lot of people that are dog lovers. So if I'm gonna do a dog bite case, I'm gonna let them know, listen, I'm not saying you don't have biases because we all do, and it's based on our lens and how our community and how we were raised. And I'll tell them what some of my biases are so people will not feel like they got to feel bad by telling me their bias. I would prefer you tell me your bias so that I can say it ain't nothing against you, but you just may not be a person for this case, because you cannot take out your mind, like what you believe. And that's the point of voir dire. So, like, if I'm doing a dog bite case, then I'm gonna not want somebody, if I'm a defense to a dog bite case, I don't want anybody on my jury that's been bitten by a dog if I'm defending it. If I'm the one that's on the side of suing someone for a dog bite, then you want somebody perhaps that don't like dogs. You know what I'm saying? So there are certain biases that you have, and that's the point of voir dire, because some biases you just can't, and it's not for a cause necessarily, but you have to decide if you're willing to use your peremptory challenges in order to dismiss them, because you think that they just can't throw it out of their head. So I'm not saying that we don't innately have biases, because we all do. That's why people are emotional about this case. What I'm saying is there is a way in order for you to be able to put that aside and to actually look at the facts and look at the law. And I think a lot of people don't have that. They can't get past their own biases and prejudices. And that's just what it is. So those are the ones you have to totally weed out. So when you have people that's like, I don't care, he did it, I saw everything all over the internet and I believe he did it. Well, can you put that aside and be fair? No, I can't. Those are the ones that gotta go. Most people, though, they'll say, yes, I can put it aside, and you got to read through whether they're just concerned about what random people who don't know them think about them, or if they're being honest. That's why one of the biggest techniques and skills you have is to get people to start chit-chatting with you like we do on the internet, where they'll tell you their stories. I've had people just open up and tell me their stories that are real deep and private. And you want to get the jurors to get to that point, because they'll tell you like, nah, I don't like them, I don't like rap music. Like, you want them to get, and you're telling them, I'm not looking at you any type of a way, because I got biases too, I can tell you the stuff I don't like, but it just may not be the case for you because of how your biases are. So it ain't personal. Like, would you want you on a jury and it's your loved one that's on the defense? Would you want you because of your biases? And if you say no, then you need to go. That's just how it is. So yeah. Shauna, you don't really know if people are being honest or not. So a lot of things you do is you get to look at social media. You can try to learn some of their backgrounds. They do ask general background questions. What do you do for a living? Kids. There's certain questions you can ask that you think is just a generic general questions, but it has a method behind the madness. So you just have to learn how to do it. It's really a technique. That's why people hire jury consultants to help pick their juries, because it really is a skill for you to know how to do it. And to be honest, like when I first started, I never knew the importance of it. Like, I knew the jury was important, but I never knew the importance of formulating your questions and how it could make or break your case, and why people would spend 7 months or whatever. Well, the only time I saw that was like the YSL trial, but why somebody spends all that time getting a jury, because I've been able to get them fairly fast within like the first half of the morning. We starting the trial in the afternoon. But it's because it's critical. You get the wrong person on your jury and that's your case. So Gwen 10 said, I can't stand dog owners who let their dogs come close to you even when the dog is on the leash. I'm terrified of dogs. And there may be a reason behind that. That's how I've learned to like dogs, because of how much, like, my daughter, dang it, she loves dogs. Her dad used to breed and do all of that stuff before we were even together, so he loved dogs. I was bit by a dog when I was a kid, so I've never liked them. So it's been a few times my kids wanted the dogs, and so I just got them because of that. But then as soon as they weren't taking care of the dog and it fell on me, we had to rehome it, because I was like, I'm already going outside my comfort zone. I'm definitely not taking care of no dog. I'm not doing it. So yeah. Esther said, I have firsthand knowledge like Capricorn clock. She had a romantic relationship with Diddy. Facts, if he beats on the girls, he slept with them. That's what it's looking like. The cook, too. All right, that's alleged. Well, I don't know them people. Ray Bishop said dog lovers convicted Michael Vick. I'm just saying. Because he said dog facts, cats and no go, but I'm not scared of dogs, but keep that John away from me because I'm not an animal lover. That's what I'm saying. That type of stuff is important for those type of cases. And people will keep that from you because they think you're going to judge them. And that's kind of like how it is on the internet. People be caring about what random people think about them. That's why they post their whole lives. That's why you get shocked at a Remy and a Papoose because they got black love and they all up on each other. But then behind closed doors, y'all ain't slept together in whatever amount of years. He allegedly ain't making no money. He messing with other people. You got a man on the side because people care what people think about them. That is just the humanistic nature until you get out of that. And so when you're a juror, they're the same way. They care about what people think about them. So they hold back some of their biases. So your job is to get them to feel comfortable. And usually I can do that by telling them what my biases are. I tell them what I like, what I don't like. And some of y'all may look at me like I'm crazy, but this is what it is. But they care about strangers. They don't be knowing each other, and that they become a family, I think, when they come and they're a part of the jury and they got to deliberate and they spend the time together and they go get lunch because they go get lunch together and all of that. They go on the breaks and it's a lot of eating areas around the court. They just can't discuss the case. So that means what if you're not discussing the case, you're discussing each other's lives and business. Like you become a family. You seen with YSL, or at least friends. I don't want to go as far as family, but a lot of friendships are developed because you're spending so much time together. YSL jurors, they still like 2, 3 of them started a podcast or whatnot after the trial. Why? They spent all this time together and they got to know each other. So you become friends. You talking about over a year, the longest trial in Georgia history. Yeah. Y'all still on these dogs. Power Dynamics said I used to love dogs until my cousin's German Shepherd. That's what I got bit by a German Shepherd. And when I got bit by a German Shepherd, I was just a kid riding my little big wheel. Y'all remember them little big wheels? And I was too big for it, but I was like on the back of the big wheel. And you know how you used to put your foot on there and you just scoot around because your knees would be hitting the handlebar because you're too big. So I was going around the block on the little big wheel, and a dog, I guess the dog had just had babies, and it heard, I guess, me from inside the house. So the dog literally jumped through the window. So the homeowners weren't even there. Jumped through the windows, and literally it was a kid that was the neighbor. So I guess the kid probably knew the German Shepherd. It was a kid that was younger than me that was a neighbor. And so I'm running around the kid and the dog is just biting my legs up while I'm running around the kid. So I have blood streaming down my legs. The little boy, his mom came out, was like, where do you live? Da 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 da. This, I don't recall this dog ever acting like that. But the dog didn't do anything to the little boy that was there because I guess maybe he's used to him being around. So then when the homeowners and the dog owner actually came home, they went around the corner to our house. Of course, talked to my parents because we had to know if you were updated on your shots and all of that. I had to go to the hospital and they said it was because the dog had puppies and was overprotective. It's like, but your dog is literally in the house and jumped through. The crazy part about that is my parents never sued. And as an attorney that have gotten people good money for less, I was like, y'all was just too safe. They was one of the people that believe you ain't supposed to really be suing people and all of that. And I said, no wonder they was so nice. Coming over, checking on me, making sure I was okay. My mom like, oh, they're so nice. No, they should have got sued. So, but that's my dog bite story. Wanted me real bad, sassy. Wanted me, my legs was looking real juicy. No, I'm okay. I'm just saying where it came from. I'm still not totally scared. Like for a while, I was scared of dogs, but I'm not really scared of them. They're not my preference. Like I have a memory of it. So they're just not my preference. So I can go my whole life without it. So I can't relate when people are like, "Oh my God, my dog, I can't believe we got to put my dog down and all of that." Like I can't relate to that because I don't really like dogs like that. But I can't, yeah, I can't really relate. I ain't even gonna sit up here and pretend. I'm not saying it's a problem with it, you know what I'm saying, or I'm just looking at you crazy, but it's just something I can't connect with because I had a bad experience at a young age, so I never really liked them ever since. So, all right, let's go on. How we got to my dog bite story, I don't know, but anyway. So I got stuck on the whole he was gonna audition, right, for James Brown. Cause what? So then, cause remember who was that? Terrence Howard was saying he was hiring him to help him with his acting, but then he'll come over and just be looking at him like he was a snack. That's what Terrence Howard said. He would look at him like, and he said he did it twice, and he was like, "No, I ain't about to be playing with him." So Steele said, "You carried about a video camera?" She said, "He required me to do it. Pre-iPhone, I was required." So then Steele said, "Do you have any footage of Mr. Combs berating you?" The government said, "Objection, it was overruled." She said, "I would not have been allowed to record that." So then Steele said, "Do you have anything about Mr. Combs berating you?" And then she says, "It would have violated confidentiality." So then Steele says, "You have no text messages." And she said, they showed me one on direct. And Steele said, "Showing what?" And she said, "Puff saying, 'F it, let's go to war.'" Steele said, "Nothing else?" She said, "Only reaching out to other people in the office, things others had seen." "And what did you write here?" She said, "I wrote, 'We had so many funny memories. OMGGG. Oh my goodness, goodness, goodness.' Anything in your phone about being brutalized by Mr. Combs?" "I don't think so." "How would we find out?" "Objection, sustained." Steele said, "Mia, didn't you have time away? Assaulted me?" She said, "I did not have time and would not have written that." So then Steele said, "In August 29, 2020, he wrote to you, 'Glad you're well, love. Please send me the footage for the doc.'" Steele said, "Mr. Combs let you go from your employment." She said, "I don't know why. It was confusing. I was called back." Steele said, "Here he says he'll only remember the good times." She said, "Yes." So yeah, so those are what we have thus far on the testimony. Let's see if there was anything since I was yapping. No, I don't see anything else. Let's see. Somebody dogging Brian Steele. And YCB said, "Pam, from my perspective, the central issue is the extent to which individuals are willing to compromise boundaries to access the industry or proximity to fame, the claim of having no choice." Yeah. Raises serious concerns about coercion, consent, and the systematic pressure embedded in the pursuit of celebrity. Yeah, because I think what they try to do is they want the person that's willing to do anything for them, willing to be there for them, willing to keep secrets and have loyalty for them. And I think that's anybody in the celebrity arena. If they hire assistants, you got to NDAs. Kim Kardashian has sued a few people for breaking NDAs and recording when they shouldn't and all of that. Why? Because they want their privacy protected. They just have a life of which they need assistance, meaning they need somebody to come in that has a loyalty almost like a family member because they need their help. You got so many people that want to be in the entertainment industry and have access and proximity to celebrities. So I think they make it like that whole show, "I Want to Work for Diddy." They want you to show what you're willing to do to weed you out amongst the millions of people that wants it. Do I think it's okay? No, but do I think this is indicative of the industry for decades? Yes. It's indicative of the industry for a long time. Diddy did not create this environment. People have shown what they're willing to do to be in his orbit. And so what that don't make it okay that you could actually assault people allegedly or whatever else, but people are showing what they're willing to do. And so to throw up and say, well, psychologically, this is why, my psychologist said I stayed. No, you stayed because you wanted to keep the proximity. Even when you look at the stylist, right? The stylist said Diddy choked him up on a car one time. I guess he didn't even become a celebrity stylist till he worked with Diddy when Diddy hired him. And he said that he found it in an ad in Craigslist. So this was really your entrance into the door. After he choked you and you went on with your life, he doesn't have any stories of Diddy stopped me, told me I got to keep styling him. None of that. He didn't say that. He still was texting him, hey, what's going on? I always have your back. But why do they do that? Because what happened a year later? Somebody wanted VIP tickets for some event and he wanted to get it from whoever he wanted to, and he called Diddy to get him. So they want to keep the proximity so that they could use him later. You think Diddy doesn't know people are using him too? And I think from that perspective, he took advantage of it. Not to mention he don't have no discipline or self-control because partly he's a addict. And the other part is he has some, other issues himself. So I'm just saying, if we're going to blame everything on there, it seems like there's a psychological explanation for everything. If we were to be honest, you get nervous before you do something. They're going to say, okay, people have anxiety to speak in front of people. There's almost a diagnosis for almost everything that you do. But let's see. Thank you for the Cash App see-through you. I appreciate it. I think he became the stylist after they broke him in. Who in their right mind will get a stylist from Craigslist when there's credited stylists in the industry already? I don't know if he testified to that, call me darling, but I understand what you're saying. But as I said, you are correct, but it's a different kind of expectation in the entertainment industry. People are willing to do more and take on more it's what you're willing to compromise in order to be in the vicinity or be in the presence. That's really what it is, like what you're willing to compromise. Wayne said hiring people from Craigslist is low vibrational. I was actually shocked when I'm like, Craigslist? What? What are we doing, Diddy? Craigslist? I know they're not still on break. Are they like arguing or something? I wonder what would take this long. I got chased by two big German shepherds when I was a kid riding my bike to the store. They didn't bite me, but trying to kick them away, I fell down and broke. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, LB Butterfly. And breaking stuff hurts really bad. I've broken my leg before, and it was the worst pain I have ever felt in my life. So, yeah. Well, guess what, Sid? Are you talking to me? Let me make sure I know because I'm about to block you. But I'm going to give you that. Are you saying that I'm biased? Because I don't want you to be over and have to listen to a biased person. So you talking to me? If you don't come back, I'm going to assume you are, and you're going to get blocked. So you only got a few more minutes. Well, a lot of them also testified there's a headhunter, and there was a guy that was on on TikTok that was saying how basically he interview. He was from Mariah. He was like an assistant to Mariah Carey. And he did a whole book. Oh, okay. I'll see you later. Cause we don't want you to be like that. You know what I'm saying? We don't want you to feel bad over here. Thank you for your honesty. No, I'm not. That's not giving me any money. I control my chat. That's what mods are for. They can't comment in my chat. They're still gonna listen because they still care about what this biased person says. So that's not how I make my money on YouTube. But thank you so much for looking out. You like, listen, don't block your money. No, you're not gonna say anything up in my chat. That's not gonna happen. So they need to. You said they're still going. I know they are, but I'm trying to figure out. Hold on. Why the inner city hasn't updated yet? Hold on, because I know he can't be finished with this. Diddy updates from CNN. Let me see. Live updates. Yeah, there are more on here. Hold on. Okay, let me see what CNN has to say. So CNN, they said defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, how Combs would have found out about private messages between her and his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. And she said he has stolen my phone many times. He has stolen Cassie's phone many times. He has put tracking devices on our cars. Mia testified. I'm not sure what he's capable of. I was terrified, she said. I don't even know why Brian Steele would answer that question. How Combs would have found out about the private messages. That sounds too open-ended. Anyway, the former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs says she was very close with Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura throughout her employment, but she was, quote, not allowed to tell her the truth about a lot of things, end quote. Whatever story Puff told me, I had to uphold that. One of the worst parts was being out in the middle and having to cover up for Puff to Cass, which he forced me to do constantly. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia if she ever told Ventura that she should leave Combs. She said, quote, not in the way I wish I could have, end quote, Mia responded. Mia testified she never told Ventura she had to stay with Combs, but said, quote, I remember covering for him when he forced me to and feeling terrible about it. However, if I didn't, he would have taken me away from her, end quote. Okay. There's Mia. No, they can't show her face. Even though many people, figured it out who she was. Okay. Combs' ex-assistant says she didn't mention sexual assault allegations during mediation over her severance. Mia testified that she never mentioned any sexual assault allegations against Sean Combs in the 2017 mediation over her severance with the Combs Company. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked her if she was aware of the Me Too movement at the time. That sounds old though. Didn't they talk about this already? She said she didn't know about the Me Too movement during that time. I don't understand, like, why. Why it's not showing. Okay, here we go. I wonder why that one didn't upgrade. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go find it. Okay, maybe he started another thread. Let me look this up real quick. Sassy said it ain't even lunch. Who has time to fight in the chat? I'm trying to lurk and work. Y'all got Pam Bam disappearing folks like Cass. Thank you for the super chat. It's springtime. You know what I'm saying? I'll be doing it. It's going to be new mods. It's just time to clean up. Mia said it was a mediation. My lawyer ended up getting $200,000. And Combs still said, didn't he do this already? I'm so confused. You ended up getting 200,000. Said you got 200K. Yes. Please look at the screen. Is that you on social media account? Looks like a text message. Sounds like me. Your text to Mr. Combs. I don't remember sending this. You are in a tutu and Mr. Combs appears to be holding his private part. They said that already. Why did you still communicate with Mr. Combs and there was an objection? Okay, this gotta be old. Hold on. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that was old. That was from Friday. Gotta figure it out, y'all. We gotta figure it out. Is anybody else on the Twitter? Trying to find it. I don't see anything. Let me see. Let me see who else got some lives updates or something. They got to be getting it from the same place that we getting it, though. Okay, here go ABC News. NBC News. All right, let's see what NBC News got to say. So the prosecution scolds defense for tone of question. Didn't I tell you? Like, he seemed like he get a little out of hand. You know, I can. Brian still might be sounding like he get mad at this witness. So the prosecution scolds defense for the tone of questioning. Prosecutor Maureen Comey. Wait a minute. Oh, so they had an issue with Mia briefly shown on the courtroom feed. The witness's face was briefly showed on the internal courthouse feed through the air, though the air didn't elicit an immediate reaction in the courtroom. For about 30 seconds, a camera showed Mia, who was testifying under a pseudonym, despite a judge's orders that her face not be shown or even drawn by courthouse sketch artists. When her face was shown in a feed to an overflow room, the prosecution didn't lodge an immediate objection. Mia is still getting pushed by the defense for years of friendly communication with Combs, despite her testimony that she feared him. Another text from Mia, this time from December 2022, in which she wishes Combs a happy holiday season, was shown on the courtroom. The defense pointed out that Mia has told the jury she didn't want to see Combs because she feared him. Mia was asked whether she was scared of Combs the entire time she knew him, including from 2019 to 2022. She said, quote, "I was scared of him when he was scary." Yes. So she was only scared of him, I guess, when he was acting crazy. Mia says she was terrified and brainwashed, making her hesitant to come forward. The witness says she was terrified and brainwashed, preventing her from coming forward earlier with allegations of sexual assault against Combs. When defense attorney Steele asked Mia if she had a moral obligation to report Combs immediately, she said she didn't, because I was terrified and brainwashed. It was only when others came forward publicly that Mia said she elected to do so too. It's been a long process, she said. I'm still untangling these things. I'm in therapy. Defense attorney Brian Steele pushed Mia about her testimony last week, during which she said Combs actually assaulted her, asking point blank whether the actual assault testimony was true. She said, quote, "I would not lie in the courtroom," Mia said. "I never lied in this courtroom. Everything I have said is true." Steele has shown the court multiple messages from Mia to Combs from 2008 to 2020 after she stopped working for Combs, in which she expressed love and good memories. In one message from August 2020, she wrote that the only thing to remember were the good times. Mia told the court that Combs had brainwashed her. She testified that the environment she was in was filled with high highs and low lows. Mia testified that she was always seeking Combs' approval. Okay, so that's about recording during outbursts. We already talked about that. So let's go to the prosecution scolds the defense for tone of questioning. So prosecutor Maureen Comey alerted Submarinian that she felt Combs' defense was mistreating Mia, accusing Brian Steele of humiliating her on the witness stand. Comey laid out concerns that Steele's sarcasm and suggestions that Mia is lying are bordering on harassment, and that Steele is adding to Mia's trauma. Submarinian did not agree that Steele was mistreating Mia, but he did agree that the questions had been argumentative and cumulative in nature. They were argumentative. I agree with that. The judge said he heard Comey's concerns and would be on the lookout for offensive conduct. He added that the government would alert the court if it found any. Submarinian warned Steele that he can ask questions and move on, but that if he believes that Steele is asking something just to get it out there, he will step in. So don't just ask questions just because you're trying to get it out, for the public. Mia admits she didn't tell Ventura everything. The witness said she was very close to Cassie Ventura, but admitted not telling Combs' girlfriend everything that she could have. Mia conceded that she didn't tell Ventura about Combs' alleged sexual assault on her. She also said she would keep the music mogul's whereabouts from Ventura under his orders. "I remember covering for him and feeling terrible about it." Combs put a tracking device on Ventura's car, Mia said. Mia told the court that she felt terrible about covering for Combs with Ventura, his former girlfriend, but felt that if she didn't, he would have taken away his access to her. Mia testified that Combs would find out because he stole their phones and put tracking devices on Ventura's car. She added that she wasn't sure what Combs was capable of and reiterated that she was terrified. Mia says she wanted to DIE with the secret of her abuse. Mia spoke to Cassie Ventura after Combs' former girlfriend filed her November 2023 lawsuit detailing sexual abuse allegations against him. But Mia testified that she didn't tell Ventura about her own experience of sexual abuse from Combs during that conversation. I was still deeply ashamed and wanted to die with this, Mia told the court. Mia went to mediation and asked for $10 million. After her departure from Combs' employment, Mia says she went to mediation and originally asked for $10 million. Still, the defense lawyer said Mia, if she demanded the 8-digit number from a lawsuit, she responded that her claim against Combs went to mediation, and that's where $10 million emerged as an opening position in negotiations. They eventually settled for $400K, with her lawyer retaining about half of that. Hey, good to see you, Mac. Okay, the IE said the prosecution has a lot of nerve. They have been playing dirty from day one, and they have the nerve of complaining about Steele. Steele was getting into it though. He was cooking. I could tell when you get a little bit. He might be frustrated about her as a witness. Just period. Like y'all really gonna use her as a witness? So that may and he probably is. He was being argumentative with some of his response, his questioning was like, but you still say, like, okay, what you got then? What information do you have to even show anything you saying is true? And they can say it's argumentative. Now, mistreating the witness, that's what some YouTubers who are all into, obviously they want Diddy in prison. They were saying the same thing. I think it's disgusting that the court, everyone allowed it to happen. That she obviously was being badgered. It's like, no, he's doing his job. And it's very easy on the prosecution end. Why? Because you're their witness. And so they're not going to challenge much of what you say. In fact, you met with them a whole lot of times in order to make sure that there wasn't any dispute on what the testimony was going to be. So, yeah. So, let's see if Anna City Press got something else going on. They said there was a sidebar. They're back. Let me talk about. So they're talking about Prince's party. Hold on. This is weird how Twitter is doing this stuff. And so there was a sidebar of which, good morning, moms, the boss. Good to see you. Let me see. Let's talk about Prince's party. You said you had no permission to go there, but you knew many people who knew Mr. Combs would be there. The judge said, rephrase. Did you wear a disguise? She said, no. Any photo of a chase? No. So basically, they're challenging the whole Prince. Good morning. Good morning. Melanair said, please stop the sidebar conversation pan while reading the transcript. You lose our attention when you do that. Please finish reading the transcripts and do comments after. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So there's that. Yeah, Tisa, you know what? You made me say her name. Inner City thread isn't connecting all of his tweets today. That's what I'm trying to see. I'm like, are they not together? Am I missing a chunk? If there's another chunk, uh, I don't know, y'all. You sent me a thread on IG. Thank you so much, because your girl is lost now. I'm like, what is happening right now? Let me see. Wait a minute, though. It's not. Is this a separate thread, Tracy? It's only showing. Hold on. Let me see. You sent me a super chat. Yeah, I saw it. I read it earlier. Thank you so much, Sassy E Experience. I appreciate it. Because I'm seeing the thread, but it's not doing like what it typically does. Let's see. Where it's just like totally connected, and it's not doing that on my computer for some reason. This is weird. So I have, you say you and Miss Ventura got on a paddle boat into a storm. Yes. Let me see if this one comes up on here now. If I show more replies, it's not coming up. Child, Elon Musk might not like me. I'm like, no, ma'am. All right, let me pull this up. So on my phone, I have an additional tweet. You say you and Miss Ventura got on a paddle boat into a storm. Mia says yes. Let me see if I click over that one, if that'll come up. Okay. Any recordings of that? She said no. Still said any note or text messages to prove it happened? Mia said, I don't think so. We were on a paddle boat. Still said, did you make it up? So he asking her all these questions and asking her, is she lying? Then Still said, you said you had no time with family. Did you ever go to events with your family and friends? She said sporadically over 8 years, but few and far between. He said weddings. She said sister and best friends, I believe. Halloween. She said, I don't remember. I don't recall. Combs still said, you had time with others, right? She said, I had to be in communication 24/7. I was never outside his grip. Still said, outside of the work environment, why couldn't you explain the abuse you say you were experiencing? She said, it's more complicated than that. Yeah, they said 1,000, but then I think we didn't found out it was like 25 when the baby, 25 bottles of baby oil instead of the 1,000 as went out there originally. Wait a minute. Okay, Melanair. I was that telling people to go to hell. Oh Jesus. I just hate to. Oh Jesus. Where's all my mods at? Why am I blocking so I ain't got no mods in here? Dang it. Like why am I up here on block high block alert? See, now I'm about to go back through here and add some more people. They are Esther. They telling me how that I should run my lives and then telling people to go to hell. Like we don't do that over here. Like be respectful. Don't talk to my people like that. That's not gonna work for me. Jesus, help me. What are y'all doing? Everybody woke up on demon time. What is happening? So, according to NBC, they said Combs' defense pushed Mia about why she waited to tell the government her allegations of sexual assault against Combs, saying it took about 7 or 8 months until she revealed the information to prosecutors. Mia told the court that she doesn't remember the exact conversations, but that she did not tell the government until she had retained legal representation. The reasons are, quote, privilege, she said. Attorney-client privilege protects the confidentiality of communications. The reasons are privilege why you didn't tell about the actual assaults until you retained an attorney. I don't know. NBC look like they must have somebody there that's kind of writing things out as well. Um that's writing things as well in the overflow room. Okay. And then still said until 2024, you never told anyone you were actually abused. Mia said, unless it was to my privileged therapist. That's true. Still said, could you waive that privilege? The government said, objection. A judge said, move on. Still said, you joined the Me Too money grab against Mr. Combs. He said, you joined the Me Too money grab. The government said, objection. Still said, you knew Miss Ventura received money from her lawsuit against Mr. Combs. She said it was public. Still said, but you speak with Miss Ventura. She said, never about anything I discussed with the government. And still said, how will we know that? That's what he called it, a Me Too money girl. Yeah, the moderates will make a difference because I don't be seeing all this. Man, I ain't got nothing there. Oh, here go Ray. Ray, where you been? They been fooling, Ray. You know, I know y'all don't get paid enough, but golly, you said the Jake's defense. um, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go into the chat. I mean, go into this chat, and I'll probably add some of y'all as mods. I have to go in another way to do it. So it's cool. It's cool. It's all right, Ray. I understand. They fooling the day, Ray. They are they bold. They coming out the bushes in full force, telling me about what I need to do over here. I'm like, ma'am, it's like 5,000 people like covering this case. You definitely don't gotta stay here. Like, I don't want to get nobody's blood pressure up. That was the last one. Okay, let me see what NBC has to say. That's the last one they have. Is 8 minutes ago. Girl, they I was like trying to be cool. I ain't trying to like I got way too many minds to have these problems. So it's cool. I'm about to start making some changes. It's a couple people I was thinking about that I haven't seen in a while anyway. They wanted to get it smoked to Cassie, but they had to be cool because she was pregnant. Yeah. Cause listen, Steele is the way he's cross-examining her, like he wants the jury to be disgusted. Like, this is what they're using as witnesses. This is what they're doing. So she comes in there and they said she was all timid. They said she genuinely seemed scared. That's why to hear Dennis's take on it is funny. Because he basically told me at first, Diddy was cooked. This girl was convincing. She genuinely seemed scared and disturbed. All of this or whatever. And now the consensus across the board, even with people that don't like Diddy, is like she might be one of the worst witnesses. Y'all done went from she should have been the star witness to now she the worst witness, all because the defense came along. But yeah. J. Mackey B said the cross has boiled down to you claimed he assaulted you, but you also took pics smiling. NYBK said these employees had a choice to walk away from where I stand. None of them wanted to go back to the 9 to 5 grind. And that's what somebody said. They were saying once you got into this industry, you can't go work at McDonald's. Why not? I know somebody who was a corporate, and because of how they were treated, they left. And that's exactly what they did, was went to McDonald's, worked their way up, and now they just opened their first McDonald's. Ended up being the president, was like not the president, was in some marketing division, like started at the bottom, grown man. Okay. Started at the bottom, ended up coming up, and then like helped with the whole rolling out the breakfast all day, and then ended up owning one. So yeah, you can if you want. Hold on one second, y'all. Had to change spots right quick. Good morning, Keita. Hope y'all can hear me. Hey, Siri said, well, Pam, we believed Demore last night. Good point. Hey, that's a good point. we definitely were like, oh, we heard these rumors about Rock Nation. Then we turn around and hold on one second. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm half working. Y'all know how this is. So. All right, let's see what else we got on here. And I probably was so in the middle of a statement, but I just did 3 things at one time. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They did take a break. So they didn't took the break already. Okay. All righty then. I'm just so confused why this thread is like this now. I gotta figure it out. But anyway, they're on break now. So what y'all want to talk about real quick before I go get something to eat? You guys have any questions on what's going on so far? Let me see if one update, court adjourns for lunch. That's all they have. Judge Arun Subramanian emptied the courthouse for the daily lunch break, telling everyone to be ready to return at 12:50. During the break, Subramanian said Mia will be given documents to refresh her memory about the numerous meetings she had with the government prior to trial. So basically, it looks like they're about to go over what they gonna go over. Whose testimony do you think has been the most beneficial to the prosecutors? Probably Cassie's, because Cassie's the actual victim for X trafficking, which is one of the main ones. X trafficking and my eyes are red. X trafficking and the racketeering is the worst one. So yeah. Ooh, I gotta get some Visine. Anyway. Is the security guy dang, yeah, I'm talking about, yeah, you right. Is the security guy testifying today the one who's supposed to have taken the bribe from Diddy? I think so. I think that's the one that took the 5th. I could be lying, mistaken, but I'm just guessing because I'm not in the courtroom. And she still seemed disturbed, just not in the same context. That's from Work in Progress. Everything's psychological. Her therapist helped her to understand what her problems were. Pam, do you think he's overcharged? I think he was overcharged, but I think so with Rico, you also have to understand you get the forfeiture too of all of the money that you think were obtained through this criminal enterprise or this criminal behavior. So they're tying in his businesses. This is also a way, if they win for Rico, to totally bankrupt him. That's why he has already hired a forfeiture attorney. The consequence of this could be that the government takes pretty much everything that he has. This is way deeper than that, because the thing was, let's be clear, all this stuff, arsons, and y'all could have just, the alleged grape case, y'all could have literally indicted him individually for some of this stuff. Crossing state lines to do A, B, C, D, and E, that's what makes it federal. Like, why didn't you just indict him? She's saying he took it from her. Cassie says she had a time where he took it from her. So why not just, those are the type of charges that don't have statutes of limitations. So why aren't we just doing that individually? Because when you have a RICO, you get to take all your stuff. So that's why I'm saying it's a dirty game. I'm sorry, Funkin' Pops. Did you watch the alleged unidentified escort's interview? He claimed his name is Flash and that Cassie even tried to contact him without it. Ah! No, I didn't see that. I'll look it up though on the break. Puff getting the point now. They want to take it. Yeah, like y'all got to see this too. Like I don't want to be that person. The reason why I kind of haven't said it because people just think like, oh, they always saying they taking down the black man. I don't want to be that person, even though we know it happens. But I don't want to be that as an excuse for anything because there's no excuse for a lot of stuff he's done. But do I understand the nature and the gravity of a RICO in federal court? Yeah. Because the point is, they're saying you have a criminal organization. You have an organization dang near built off crime. Okay. So that means whatever comes through there, whatever you buy, it's all subject to forfeiture. So if you can say he started Bad Boys so that he could commit some type of crimes, I don't see, like, I think his businesses are legit. But you have the R. Kelly situation of how they were able to tie it together. Now, I do know with R. Kelly, I didn't watch the trial, but I do remember there were allegations of them being locked up in rooms. Okay. They was like allegedly in rooms on that Surviving R. Kelly. They was talking about having little bowls in the rooms to use the bathroom. And there were some minors, some alleged minors. So it was different in that sense. But so I could maybe see, but his attorney was fighting the whole RICO thing. I didn't read the opinion. I probably should. Because Lord knows when I bring up R. Kelly, the chat goes on fire and everybody get pissed off. But I'm representing to you that I did not follow those cases, so I don't really know. So, but the consequence is you will be broke. That is the consequence. So yeah, he has to actually he's hired a forfeiture lawyer. I've never heard that, Ray Bishop. What I heard was that Andre, not Andre, is it Andre? Not Andre Harrell. Is it Andre Harrell? That was the one from Uptown, right? I think Andre Harrell actually, Andre Harrell gave him startup money or something, is what I heard, because he did an interview and I think he said like he was kind of pushing Diddy to do his own thing because he said basically can't be two kings in a castle. And Diddy was getting big, in his riches. He was a good A&R, so he was getting superstar potential artists. And so there was a power struggle. And so he told Diddy, like, get out on your own. So that's supposed to be what happened, but he helped him because he felt like he would be good doing it on his own. That's what I heard. So I've never heard this allegation. You said it wasn't built on no crimes. It was built on the Harlem Shake. It's Diddy. It's Diddy. Yeah, I know Andre Harrell started Uptown Records, Puff started Bad Boy. Okay, I'm telling you, I can go by what Andre Harrell's interview was. He said why Puff left. People didn't know that he told Puff he had to go because there couldn't be two kings up in this castle, basically. But he did give him some money so he could start it. So I never heard that. But hey. Allegedly from BMF from here, from my stomping grounds. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Did Cassie mention the Prince party? No. Miss Sue said that's what Sammy the Bull said, that it was about taking his money. And them mob people, they would know, because that's exactly why they created the statue, was to get them. Sammy the Bull has been, we know he testified for the prosecutors, and he's also testified for obviously the defense. So he's been on both sides. The thing about a lot of these, when you look at the RICOs, when it came for the Italian gang mobs and all, mafias, it was very interesting because when they gave these immunity deals, it was usually like second in command, you know, because they're trying to get the big dog. Third in command, somebody that was close to the top, loyalty, well respected, probably got 50 bodies under their name, something with the root. Like it was a hierarchy to it. So they would give immunity to the next big person so that they can get the head honcho. In this case, it's weird because now you're getting people at a hotel, personal assistants that just worked with them. So this is why I'm saying I think RICO has been expanded to the point where dang near anybody could get a RICO. I think that's how it's been expanded until it gets stopped. Until someone, you know, keeps challenging it. So Brenda 89 said Clive Davis gave Puff the sub-label deal. Andre fired him, but had revisionist history later on. Okay, Clive gave Puff the sub-label deal. Andre fired him, and then you're saying Andre made that up in his interview by having revisionist history. Since Puff gave him a job afterwards, Puff did not start Bad Boy with drug money. Okay, that's from Brenda 89. I've never heard of it. I vaguely kind of recall the BMF allegation, but I didn't know that. Thank you for the information. Thank you, Bama girl. I appreciate that. Hey. All right. All right, y'all. I'm about to go feed my little one and then feed myself. So I don't know if I'll be back or not, but we'll see. I got a couple of things. I got work to do. I just kind of hopped on in between. Hope you guys enjoyed the video so far and enjoying, well, I always say that like we're not really enjoying the trial, but just at least enjoying the company on discussing the trial. The facts of the trial are pretty trash. You know, they're not good facts to be talking about or say anything good about it. But I enjoyed discussing it with you and seeing what your point of views are. And I hope that you guys feel the same way. I'm going to go. I am going to go and I am going to talk to you guys a little bit later. I may or may not come back on. I don't know. We'll see. If you have not watched the video from yesterday, y'all behoove you to go over there and watch that video. We talked about Desiree Perez and her daughter, especially if you've seen some of the other videos floating around. You're going to see how a lot of us had to take our initial opinions back and why we had to take our initial opinions back. But you actually get to see in real time us going on both sides and how you can feel one way when you hear one side and then you hear the other side and you like, what? This is totally different. So that's kind of what we went through. So it's pretty cool yesterday. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'm gonna holler at y'all later.